Never forgot a friend.
One job, but certainly was a pleasure.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for a needle in the haystack.
You know, Groucho Marx really didn't enjoy his early days in Hollywood at all. He felt he just didn't fit in. One man in particular he didn't like was director Joseph von Sternberg, the man who made Marlene Dietrich a star. One thing that didn't necessarily ingratiate von Sternberg to Groucho was the way the director would walk up to the brothers in the Paramount commissary and say very loudly and very seriously, "Beware the Ides of Marx." So Groucho always made sure to beware von Sternberg whenever possible. Up next, our Marx Brothers Marathon rolls on with a trip to the land of Fredonia.
Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, Baby New Year is on his way, and the Marx Brothers are here to welcome him. First, Groucho becomes a crazy dictator who wields the weapon of laughter in duck soup. Then Zeppo convinces his college president father that football is the way to go and horse feathers. And Margaret Dumont keeps Groucho's money-guzzling hotel afloat in the Coconuts. At Turner Classic Movies, we're going to have you drowning in laughter here tonight.
As a teenager, I could count on the fingers of one hand the comedians who made me laugh till I hurt. The Marx Brothers accounted for 3 of those fingers: Groucho, Chico, and Harpo. At the beginning, there were 4 Marx Brothers, but after a few movies, Brother Zeppo noticed he wasn't getting any laughs, and he fired himself and became their agent.
Anything further, Father?
Anything further, Father? That can't be right. Isn't it anything farther further?
After laughing my head off watching their movie Monkey Business, I remember checking the newspaper to see if there was another Marx Brother movie playing somewhere in my neighborhood, or if a new one was being filmed. Whatever it was, I couldn't wait to see it.
You know, I'd buy you a parachute if I thought it wouldn't open.
Hey, I got parachutes.
Back then, I saw all of their films at least twice for the same dime. Yep, a dime. They didn't kick you out of the theater between screenings. You could stay there all day. I got to know their routines well enough to describe them for my buddies who hadn't seen the movie. And if they had seen it, we'd stay around to discuss which jokes or scenes cracked us up the most.
I can see you right now in the kitchen, bending over a hot stove. But I can't see the stove.
I've been asked which is my favorite scene or gag from their films, and there are so many. But the one that always pops into my head is from Animal Crackers. Groucho, as Captain Spaulding, is dictating a letter to his secretary, who is played by his handsome brother, Zeppo.
You said a lot of things here that I didn't think were important, so I just omitted them.
It's Groucho's behavior and attitude that tickled me, and his reaction to his brother's incompetence that made me roar. It was so unexpected. You see, the Marx Brothers were never weighed down with reality. By calling themselves Groucho, Harpo, and Chico, and wearing the ridiculous suits, each could honestly say, it's not me being nutty, it's the guy with the puffed cheeks and the blonde wig. It's the guy with the fake mustache and the glasses, not me. By hiding behind the comic personalities, they would do anything within reason to get a laugh. Or without reason.
The country
increased taxes must be fixed, and I know what to do with it. If you think you're paying too much now, just wait till I get through with it.
Groucho was the perfect Depression-era comic.
There are many bonds that will hold us together through eternity.
Really, Wolf? What are they?
Your government bonds, your savings bonds, your liberty bonds.
People were down on their luck, and there was nothing they liked more than seeing the rich folks get their hats knocked off. And Groucho did that for them. Groucho could say the things a lot of people would like to say but couldn't. He got away with being a little mean. You know why? He was funny.
Do you rumba?
Well, yes, of course I do.
Well, take a rumba from 1 to 10.
He did that thing where his eyes shot to the side and he moved his eyebrows up and down, up and down. You couldn't help liking him.
I don't know what they have to say. It makes no difference anyway, whatever it is. I'm against it. No matter what it is or who commenced it, I'm against it.
Then there was Harpo, a brilliant pantomimist. Without saying a word, he spoke volumes, funny volumes. He was a physical comedian and loved being one. The wits, without raising a sweat, have always been applauded and revered. But the great physical clowns like Harpo, and there haven't been many like him, always managed to get their fair share of laughs. And more than their fair share of bruises. And my man Chico. Chico spoke with a mock Italian accent.
You got everything ready, huh? The shovel, the axe, the dynamite, the pineapples.
Accents were the stock and trade of many vaudeville comedians. There were Dutch, Irish, Scottish, and Jewish accents used by comedians who were first or second generation immigrants. They were making fun of themselves and the other greenhorns who didn't speak as well as they did.
Well, you see, we come here to make one. I read the paper and say big boom and proudness. So we come. We're a couple of big booms too.
Politically incorrect? I would say so. But none of the other Marx brothers worried about that, so why should Chico?
Any resemblance between these two characters and living persons is purely accidental.
I think there are 3 reasons why the Marx brothers were successful. First, they were brothers who had been performing together since they were kids. They also had a special connection to comedy. They had an uncle, Al Sheen, who was part of the comedy vaudeville team of Gallagher and Sheen. So genetically and environmentally, they shared a sense of what was funny.
I love good music. So do I. Let's get out of here. Sit down.
Second, talent. The Marx brothers had many talents. Music, for instance. They were all school musicians. Their mother Minnie saw to that. They all loved music, and you see it in their movies. When a song comes up, everything stops. The music is treated with respect. You see it in their faces. It's an added dimension. But once the music was over, you knew they would immediately go back to being crazy again. And the third thing, I think, is the key to the Marx brothers' success. Showmanship. A sense of pace and variety. They came from vaudeville, and their movies are like a vaudeville show. Comedy, then music, then a stunt, then a song, then a monologue. You name it, they got it.
Let there be wine, and women, and a song, and women, and a caviar, and women.
So do yourself a favor. Watch. Watch the Marx brothers and try not to laugh. I predict you'll fail. It's like Groucho said. Laugh and the world laughs with you. Cry and you're probably watching the wrong channel. So stay tuned and laugh.
Hello? I must be going. I cannot stay. I
Turn
can't
to
stay.
Classic
I must be
Movies.
going.
I'm Carl
I
Reiner.
must be going.
Gone, but not without a few more laughs. The Marx Brothers' encore appearance continues next, here on Turner Classic Movies.
Robert Osborne, and welcome, and thanks for joining us on New Year's Eve. The year is fast coming to an end, of course, and we've been getting in a jolly mood all day for tonight's New Year's festivities, courtesy of our stars of the month, the Marx Brothers. And we're not done yet. We still have 6 more examples of Marx madness coming up, and we've actually saved the best for last. In fact, our next film, Duck Soup, is so good, the Library of Congress has placed it on the National Film Registry. One of only 2 Marx Brothers movies accorded that honor. However, when Duck Soup originally opened in 1933, it turned out to be one of the biggest flops Paramount Studios ever had. It did so little business, it almost drove the studio into bankruptcy. A fate Paramount was spared only because Mae West had come along and made a pair of films that year which were blockbusters. It's only been with the passage of time that Duck Soup has come to be fully appreciated. Now in it, Groucho plays the leader of a mythical country named Fredonia, where corruption is a way of life. This movie is a terrific satire of government, made at a time when the world was beginning for good reason to fear the rise of Nazism in Germany. But it's a movie that actually pokes fun at all governments. And the man in control of this movie and all its wackiness is the director that the Marx Brothers felt was the best director they ever worked for, Leo McCarey. He's the man who guided Laurel and Hardy through some of their best films and later directed such classics as both Love Affair and its remake, An Affair to Remember, and also the Oscar-winning Going My Way. So here with Margaret Dumont, directed by Leo McCarey, Duck Soup. This film marked the closing of several doors for the Marx Brothers. It was the last film their brother Zeppo would make as a member of the act. Zeppo wasn't getting any of the laughs, and he felt unessential. So he became an agent, occasionally representing his brothers in the deal-making phase. This film also marked the last that the brothers made for Paramount Pictures. Duck Soup was not a financial success, and Paramount was already on shaky financial ground, so the studio did not renew their contract and waved goodbye. But we're not waving goodbye. We have more from Groucho, Chico, and Harpo up next. This time, they're off to college.
Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, it's out with the old year and in with the new, and we're celebrating with the Marx Brothers. First, the boys are giving it the old college try in horse feathers. Then Groucho's hotel is a hotbed for high hilarity and white-collar crime in The Coconuts. And And Margaret Dumont invites African explorer Groucho to be her weekend guest in Animal Crackers. We're having a Marx Brothers slumber party tonight here on Turner Classic Movies.
To patch it up, baby, before we fall apart at the seams. We got to patch it up, baby, we can't let time unravel our dreams. Let's go back and...
This is Elvis Presley in his prime. Elvis captured in the classic documentary from 1970. Elvis, that's the way it is. Now, 30 years later, Turner Classic Movies commissions a restored special edition. Producer Rick Schmidlin uses long-lost footage of rehearsals, performances, and backstage scenes to create a new portrait of Elvis, the artist.
I think it's going to shock people when they see how good he looked. When he put on his white stage suits in 1970, he had a 32-inch waist, and in the top physical shape, probably the best physical shape of his life.
What are you looking at back there?
I think they're going to love it. Just the interaction between us and Elvis and the way it all came, like you said, the way they all came together is great, you know, because it really gives people an idea of what it was like, you know. That's literally what it was like.
Little sister, don't you? I remember we were all pretty nervous about it, but because there's no script. You know, what are we supposed to do now? Well, we just did what came natural. We did what we did, and that's why it's so accurate. Little sister, don't you do what your big sister.
When I watched this film, I enjoyed it because I knew all that stuff was there, and now I'm just happy that they brought it to the forefront. He made everyone feel at home right away. He was very easy and very easy to get along with, and just couldn't have been easier.
Well, there's one point in the film that I'm right towards the beginning of it. He goes in song, when I say, and he wanted me to be there. When I said, I needed you.
We rehearsed probably 200 songs with him. When we played them with him, it wasn't like a rehearsal. It was more like we were just having fun. It was more like jamming almost. But Elvis was always in charge. You know, there was nobody else in charge but him.
James, 1 minute, man. Wait a minute. They don't tell you when to start.
I like that part of it because you never get a chance to see that with most artists. And, you know, Elvis is a very sincere person about his music, and he's, you know, I mean, he wants it to be perfect. And that's why I like to see those little things, because it gives the audience a chance to tell the musicians and Elvis are working close together.
There was a team. It wasn't just Elvis and his band. If he wanted to change something, do whatever he wanted to do, he did it. But the band, they were great. They could do anything Elvis wanted, and Elvis loved that. And that's why he got along so great with them.
You forget some of the silliness that's in it. You know, just like he's sitting there and the mic starts going over and he's looking at it and he's looking. You know, I know what he's thinking. But it's just the craziness at the time. He wouldn't allow the seriousness of, like you say, paying crowd to keep him from getting tickled or getting crazy about something. He didn't care in that way. Love me tender, love me true. Thank you.
Elvis was a true musician and a true vocalist, you know. And when he sang, I really believe the lyrics went through his mind and through his heart and then came out his mouth.
You don't have to say you love me.
30 years later, this is Elvis from the heart. Performances that revealed a man, the entertainer, giving it his all. Doing it as only he could. Elvis Presley.
He was a complete professional when it came to being on the job. He did everything he could for his fans. That's the thing to watch this film.
The King gives a special performance just for you in the restored version of Elvis, That's the Way It Is. Tuesday, January 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern during our birthday tribute to Elvis Presley, only on Turner Classic Movies.
Grace Kelly, Spencer Tracy.
Vincent Minnelli, typical Hollywood story.
Damn good actors.
Can you help me, please?
Can we help you? Yes, ma'am.
Well, then I'd like you to check my motor. It whistles.
I don't blame it.
What did you say?
Viva Las Vegas. That's a whole chapter in my book. The electricity right off the bat between Elvis and Aunt Margaret was fantastic.
I'll be happy to drive you wherever you want to go.
And why should you go to all that bother?
Because around here I'm known as your very bothering mechanic.
I'm sure you are.
They just hit it off.
Be right back.
Awfully well from day one. But the thing about Viva Las Vegas was the director had a crush on Aunt Margaret.
Mother brought me up as a good little girl, and Mother was always right.
And then when they would cut from shooting, you would see all these great shots favoring Aunt Margaret. And it looked kind of strange, so Colonel Parker went in and he said, "Hey, who's the star of this picture?" And they said, "Well, Elvis is." He said, "Why is this director favoring Aunt Margaret? Then this has got to stop." So my boys are starring this picture. Either Elvis walks or y'all correct this. They said, "No, we don't want Elvis to walk." So they corrected it. But you know, the funny part about it was Elvis didn't care. He said, "Hey, man, there's room for everybody." He said, "The camera's going to get me."
I'd rather kiss a rattlesnake or play Russian roulette.
The lady loves me, but she doesn't know it yet.
He said Colonel was maybe overreacting a tiny bit, but he wasn't overreacting because it was true, and Colonel hadn't put his foot down. It could have been an Aunt Margaret movie instead of an Elvis Presley movie.
The King burns rubber and breaks hearts in Viva Las Vegas, Tuesday, January 8th at 10 p.m. Eastern during our day-long birthday tribute to Elvis Presley, only on Turner Classic Movies.
This is your ticket to Turner Classic Movies. Now playing. Man, what a guy. 24 hours a day. More than 350 movies per month. Now playing. The official viewer's guide to Turner Classic Movies. With easy-to-read movie schedules, along with highlights of TCM's monthly star and director tributes, film festivals, and weekly showcases. Plus behind-the-scenes cover stories by our own Robert Osborne. Just call 1-800-TCM-1002, and for only $9.97 per year, you'll be able to look up when your favorite movies will be on Turner Classic Movies. It's now playing. So call 1-800-TCM-1002 or send check or money order to Now Playing, P.O. Box 420934, Palm Coast, Florida, 32142-0934. And for only $9.97 per year, get your ticket to movie heaven from Turner Classic Movies. Allow 6 to 12 weeks for delivery.
Well, this might be how some people remember him, but not me. When I think of Elvis Presley, I go back to when I worked with him in 1962 on my first movie, It Happened at the World's Fair. I was 10 years old, and I barely knew who Elvis Presley was, because I was into baseball, not movie stars. But I got a kick out of working with him.
It's going,
We had a great time working on that picture, but as we filmed, I noticed that crowds of girls were flocking to our set. I mean, we were on location at the Seattle World's Fair, and it was my first experience seeing an actual mob scene. There must have been 8,000 girls just going crazy, blocking his way and seriously throwing themselves onto his car, and it just, I mean, it was bizarre. At the time, I couldn't begin to understand how that must have affected Elvis. I don't know if he enjoyed that or not, but unquestionably those crowds and others like them, I think ultimately limited his life. He was the king of rock and roll, so I'm sure the screaming fans were nothing new. And if there were any doubts about Elvis as a movie star, I think they were silenced by the box office returns. Between 1956 and 1969, Elvis Presley made 31 feature films, and almost every one of them made money.
What are you going to do with all that money?
I'm going to buy me a herd of chorus girls to make them dance on my bed.
Hollywood and the Colonel had found a formula with Elvis that worked, and they were going to stick to it. Elvis was young and inexperienced when he started acting, but I do think he was an actor. And like any gifted person, if you give them a little time, they generally find their way. By the time of his third movie, Jailhouse Rock, it was pretty much proven that he could make it in Hollywood.
One threw a party in the county jail. The prison band was there, they began to wail. The band was jumping and the joint began to swing. You should have heard the knocked out jailbird sing, let it rock. Everybody let it rock. Everybody in the whole cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock.
But as his movie career moved on and the scripts he was being offered were oftentimes less than stellar, I think he knew his talent wasn't being used, and I think he was frustrated because he realized that that wasn't going to change. Yet he was a singer first, and not just any singer, but the singer of the 20th century.
If you don't want me to be cold as ice, treat me nice.
His personality, his sex appeal, and his singing style honestly transformed American culture. And an Elvis movie, to me, is always worth watching simply because of Elvis. He just had so much raw energy. The musical numbers literally explode off the screen.
Hey, mama, don't you treat me wrong. Come and love your daddy all night long. All right. Hey, hey. All right.
That was going to be a big challenge, one of the biggest challenges of my career, to try to capture that energy and enthusiasm for the 1979 film Elvis.
She almost drives me crazy. I got cat house, baby daisy. She almost drives me crazy. She knows I love you, yes indeed. My boy don't know what you do to me. Tutti frutti, oh Rudy. 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 What about you out for like bamboo?
No, I don't take much stock in coincidences, but it is interesting to me that Elvis was 27 years old when I worked with him, when it happened at the World's Fair, and I was 27 when I portrayed him. And most of the things I used, I can honestly say I picked up from working with him on that one film. That's how strong an impression he made on me. I've even had a chance to revisit Elvis the Legend in a film that I made called 3,000 Miles to Graceland. It was kind of weird to put the outfit back on. But when you do, I think that it's true to say, anyone who does totally gets what he was about. You know, you could just hear him saying, no, man, I want the collar really high, 2 inches higher all the way around, you know, and jewels, man, more jewels. One of the most telling stories about who Elvis really was involves my dad, and he was a character actor. Bing Russell. He was with me one day on the set of It Happened at the World's Fair, and Elvis, who happened to be a fan of my dad's westerns, asked to meet with him. My dad was surprised and went over, and Elvis said to my dad, you know, nobody wears their cowboy hat the way you do, and if I ever get to do a western, you wouldn't be offended if I wear my hat like that, will you? To me, that was indicative of the kind of man that Elvis Presley really was, a naive, innocent guy who just happened to be a phenomenal talent. And that's how I remember Elvis. For Turner Classic Movies, I'm Kurt Russell.
Put on your blue suede shoes and get ready for a party with our day-long birthday tribute to the King. Tuesday, January 8th, beginning at 7 a.m. Eastern, only on Turner Classic Movies.
Hi, and welcome to Turner Classic Mail, where we answer your questions about classic movies. I'm Robert Osborne, and Pam Bauer from Phoenix, Arizona wrote our website to say, a year or so ago I read a biography about Humphrey Bogart, which stated that during a lean period in the 30s, he made a vampire movie. I've been unable to find the title or any information about the film. Do you guys know more about it? Well, thanks for writing, Pam. The movie you're thinking of is The Return of Dr. X, released by Warner Brothers in 1939. It's a film in which Humphrey Bogart plays a mad scientist who's executed and then brought back to life by human blood transfusions. Bogart looks every bit the living dead in this film, with very short cropped hair featuring a gray streak right down the middle. He also has an unearthly pale complexion and, of course, an unquenchable thirst for human blood. Now, Bogart wasn't very happy about having to make this movie, but he did it. He was under contract to Warner Brothers, and his boss, Jack L. Warner, said, "You do it." Bogart said of the part, "If it had been Jack Warner's blood I was drinking, maybe I wouldn't have minded so much. The trouble was," he said, "they were drinking my blood while I was making this stinking movie." It's amazing that his bosses put him in this movie, actually, considering where this picture came in Bogart's career. I mean, he'd already worked in prestigious films like The Petrified Forest, Dead End, Dark Victory. So it's not surprising he didn't exactly relish playing a vampire. This was the only fright film Bogart ever made, and it was also the last low-budget film his bosses made him do. Right around the corner for Bogart were such classic films as High Sierra, then The Maltese Falcon, and of course then Casablanca. Thanks for writing to us, Pam. You can see The Return of Dr. X here on TCM Monday, January 7th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. And if you want to find out when we're going to be showing any other movies starring Humphrey Bogart, visit our website and search our online programming guide. And once there, you'll also find informative stories and articles and so much more about all your favorite classic films. We love hearing from you, so write to us online at turnerclassicmovies.com or go to AOL keyword TCM. And don't forget to include your name, how to pronounce it, and where you live.
Caution! These movies may cause the following side effects.
I'll teach you to kick me. You don't have to teach me. I know how.
Beverages may erupt through nasal passages.
I've never been so insulted in my life.
Well, it's early yet.
Watery eyes.
Give me a number from 1 to 10. 11, right.
And temporary loss of bladder control.
He's had a change of heart.
A lot of good that'll do him. He's still got the same face.
The Marx Brothers in 13 of their dangerously funny movies.
Oh, hold me closer.
Coming up next.
Closer.
Only on Turner Classic Movies.
Closer.
I hold you any closer, I'll be in back of you.
If symptoms persist, consult your physician.
Either he's dead or my watch has stopped.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. I hope you're having a great New Year's Eve here with us and with the Marx Brothers. Right now, we're going to step back in time with the brothers for our next film. It's their 1932 comedy Horse Feathers, which was released 1 year before the film we just showed, Duck Soup. This time, we go with the brothers to the hallowed halls of academia, where Groucho is a newly appointed college president, and Harpo and Chico get involved in the school's big football game. This was the boys' fourth film for Paramount Studios, and the initial plan had been for them to do a film about outlaws, since movies like Little Caesar and The Public Enemy had been such big hits recently. It seemed like a perfect time to spoof the genre, too. But while the screenplay was being developed, the son of famed aviator Charles Lindbergh was kidnapped and murdered, something that shocked the nation, and something that made a comedy spoofing criminals seem in very poor taste. So a new subject altogether was found, and off to Huxley College they went, satirizing the mania that most colleges then and now have for athletes and winning teams. It's a film that was tough to make. Groucho feuded throughout with one of the writers, S.J. Perlman, and Chico was injured in a serious car accident, which shut down production for several weeks and required a body double for some shots. It's a film that runs only 68 minutes and flies by under the steady hand of director Norman MacLeod. It also has songs by Burt Kalmar and Harry Ruby. So have a look. From 1932 and featuring Thelma Todd, Horse Feathers.
To bid you all goodbye. And now, with the utmost pleasure, may I present to you the man who is to guide the destinies of this great institution, Professor Quincy Adams Wagstaff.
We are gathered together here to join this man and this woman in the bonds of matrimony, which is an honorable estate. Do you take this man to be your lawful wedded husband?
I do.
Do you take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife?
We do.
Was the second movie the Marx Brothers made with very pretty Thelma Todd, who played Connie. Now, besides working with the Marx Brothers, the other thing that Thelma Todd is most famous for is her mysterious death. 3 years after this movie was made, she was found dead in her car from carbon monoxide poisoning. And to this day, nobody really knows for sure whether that was an accident or suicide or murder. It remains one of Hollywood's legendary unsolved mysteries. Up next, our Marx Brothers Marathon continues with the first film they ever made.
Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, our Marx Brothers Marathon is moving right along as Groucho, Chico, Harpo, and Zeppo try to keep their Florida hotel from going under in the coconuts. Then a stolen painting is just an excuse for the zany brothers to run amok in animal crackers. And Groucho and Harpo turn a musical performance into a sporting event during a night at the opera. We seem to be getting our signals crossed here on Turner Classic Movies tonight.
known as a great beauty, you know that. Beautiful white witch born to drive men mad, that's me.
No, she wasn't a glamour girl, but no one could beat lanky, sassy Mary Wicks as the perfect comic foil.
Oh, you're probably wondering who I am. Well, don't be so nosy.
In many roles, as a nurse, trusty housekeeper, or even as a nun. Born Mary Isabel Wickenhauser in 1916 in St. Louis, Missouri, Mary became enamored of the stage after graduating from Washington University in 1934. Mary was soon in New York City, and ever the assertive gal paid off a bellboy to point out to her Broadway producer Mark Connolly. He cast her in his new show, The Farmer Takes a Wife. Mary's Broadway career took off from there. Mary came to Hollywood to reprise her role in the film version of the popular Broadway play, The Man Who Came to Dinner. She easily found her niche in 46 films, playing wisecracking busybodies in a career that lasted some 50 years.
I want the back of my head rubbed, my ankle rebandaged, my pillows fixed, and another cup of that hot toddy.
Which first, Queen Elizabeth?
In her heyday, Mary was featured with the legends of Hollywood.
I've been an absolute idiot.
If you're looking for an argument, you better pick another subject.
Everyone from Betty Davis to Doris Day.
My husband is a songwriter. Haven't you heard I Wish I Had a Girl? Memories and Pretty Baby?
I heard him. I didn't like him.
During her later years, she continued to work with the best in the business, supporting the likes of Meryl Streep, Whoopi Goldberg, and Winona Ryder. Her forte was the dependable, strong-minded character that could be relied upon for caustic wit and everything from dramas to musical comedies.
I love playing comedy. I love that kind of dry, and nothing blue about it. There can be a hint of risque, but I really have no patience with off-color humor.
Marjorie's young and very inexperienced. All she knows about men is their batting averages.
In case you're interested, this one's batting 1,000.
You play comedy, and yet there's great heart. And that's what I like most. Mostly somebody who's really real.
Is she still here?
You don't get rid of me so easy.
I explained to her that we couldn't afford a maid anymore.
Do you think anybody who could afford a maid would hire me? An old party with lumbago?
Anna, you know how things have been. Haven't even paid you for 3 months.
This isn't the kind of job you take for money. It's like being in the army. You'll owe me.
Her bright and spunky presence was a valued asset in many a film, right up until her death in 1995. Ever reliable, ever dependable, and always a comedienne with heart. Mary Wicks, what a character.
Much more important than keeping alive. And that is knowing that you have lived.
Lynn, really? Lynn? Rolling it, still. Re-rolling.
This film takes you behind the scenes into the magical world of Hollywood. A world of excitement, fantasy, and glamour.
What am I supposed to feel?
Feel, you stupid cow. All you've got to do is do as I say, and then your feeling will be up on the screen.
This is the story of Lila Claire. Overnight, she became a star. Over many nights, she became a legend. The studio boss. Can she act any? He made the star. She can act.
Now, you tell him I'll take a look at this broad of his, but that I'm not really interested.
The agent, I found Lila. He discovered the star. He found her in a brothel. One that specialized in catering to some pretty peculiar fantasies. The acting coach, Lila. She taught the star. The columnist, she knew the star.
Are you having an affair with Mr. Zachman?
The lover. He seduced the star. The director. He molded the star.
Without a director, you're just a vulgar little exhibitionist.
Kim Novak as Lila Claire. She is the star.
As soon as she gets her harness on.
A story of Hollywood, as you always knew it would be. Hollywood, where the dream of stardom can become a nightmare.
I'm not.
Lila, look down here. Lila. Overnight, she became a star. And over many nights,
Next month, Turner Classic Movies is shaken. Next month, Turner Classic Movies is shaken and stirred by a generation swept away, turned on, and turned out. Free love rocked, fashion rebelled, restless spirits sang their own song. Films from the swinging 60s, Tuesdays at 8 p.m., next month on TCM. Pratfalls became poetry, and wordplay, foreplay. A master of satire, the hard truth never went down so smooth. The films of writer-director Preston Sturgis, January 4th and 5th, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern. You'd let her break your heart if she was there to mend it. She moved in the shadows between black and white. She wore the pants, or she wore nothing at all. 2 documentaries, 19 films. Star of the month, Marlene Dietrich, Thursday nights at 8. When hearts are wild, rules break, things change. Next month on TCM.
Almost done. Rolling it.
Things change. Next month on TCM.
Just trying to focus. Almost done. Rolling it.
Thursday nights at 8. When hearts are wild, rules break, things change. Next month on TCM.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Let's see, on the East Coast, there's only 1 hour left of the year 2001, so let me be the first to say Happy New Year to all of you. We've been celebrating New Year's Eve all day today with a Marx Brothers marathon, and we have more Marx on tap. Up next, we have the film that actually introduced the Marx Brothers to movie audiences. The film is called The Coconuts. It's from Paramount in 1929 and based on a big Broadway smash the brothers had starred in 1925. It was written by legendary playwright George S. Kaufman and has songs by Irving Berlin. And this movie we're about to bring you is in essence a photograph reproduction of that show, just as it was done on Broadway. It's also a film the brothers were paid very handsomely to make. When Talking Pictures came along in the late 1920s, their agents knew that the brothers had great film potential because every movie studio was frantically looking to sign stage stars who knew how to talk. And the Marx boys not only could talk, but they were wild, wacky, and fun to have around. So the agents started shopping around for a studio to produce a film version of the brothers' big Broadway smash. And they found a willing taker in Adolf Zukor, the head of Paramount. But Zukor balked at the asking price, which was $75,000. Too much, he said, for a group of guys who've never made a film before. At the negotiation table, the boys were represented that time by brother Chico, the gambler of the group. And Chico began by going on and on about what an honor it was to be in the presence of the master showman, Mr. By the time Paramount Studios signed the Marx Brothers in the spring of 1929 to make this movie version of their stage success, The Coconuts, they were already appearing on Broadway in another success called Animal Crackers. So the Marx Brothers would work all day filming the movie version of The Coconuts at Paramount's Astoria studio on the East Coast. Then each night they'd be on Broadway appearing in Animal Crackers. Well, The Coconuts was such a big box office hit for Paramount, the studio invited the Marx Brothers back to make a new film of that show they were doing on Broadway. And we have it coming up next.
Welcome to Turner Classic Movies, open all night with a Marx Brothers marathon. First, Groucho shoots an elephant in his pajamas in Animal Crackers. Then Harpo makes a real racket with his violin during A Night at the Opera. And Chico has a soft spot for Maureen O'Sullivan in A Day at the Races. Hold on tight for more of the Marx Brothers on Turner Classic Movies all night.
Grace Kelly, Spencer Tracy.
Vince Manila, typical Hollywood story.
Damn good actors.
Did you kill anybody?
I don't think so.
How the West was won, I had the great opportunity of working with John Ford. I did a scene with George Peppard I was trying to kill John Wayne. What are you doing? Ford was just a great character. I watched Ford work with John Wayne, which was just incredible. I guess he had known the Duke so well that he just absolutely nailed him all day. He would get, Duke, what the hell's wrong with you, you know? Don't you know, haven't you learned how to act after all these years?
Oh, don't you think I've ever felt like that?
And he would push him around, and he constantly told him off. I mean, all day long. And Wayne just stood there and took it. It was just like a kid all day. I'll never forget that. I thought that was fascinating. He's probably the only director that could get away with it.
Saddle up and see How the West Was Won, Saturday at noon Eastern as part of our Lone Star Cinema on Turner Classic Movies.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne, and happy... Hi, I'm Robert Osborne, and Happy New Year to all of you on the East Coast. And let me be among the first to wish the same to those of you in the Central Time Zone. In just 15 minutes, it'll be time for you to pop the champagne corks. We've been celebrating this New Year's Eve with the Marx Brothers. And up next, we have the Marx when they were still a quartet. Groucho, Chico, Harpo, and their handsome brother Zeppo. This time the film is Animal Crackers from Paramount in 1930, and like our previous film, The Coconuts, this one also based on what had been a great success for the Marx Brothers on Broadway. This is the movie in which Groucho plays the adventurer Captain Spaulding, cueing the famous Groucho song, Hooray for Captain Spaulding. Brother Zeppo plays his personal assistant, and Chico and Harpo are a pair of musicians. All of them eventually caught up in a bit of art forgery. And about that Captain Spaulding theme song, Groucho liked it so much that many years later, he used it as the theme for his radio and eventually TV game show, You Bet Your Life. So have a look here with Margaret Dumont and with Lillian Roth, the singer who eventually became the subject of the famous movie biography, I'll Cry Tomorrow. From 1930, here's Animal Crackers. Here's Animal Crackers.